gosh, I love horror movies. It is literally my favorite genre. Give me a horror movie over a Marvel movie, action movie, I don't care. If it's a horror movie, I want to see that before any other movie. Welcome to my top 10 best horror movies of 2024. This is my third time doing this. I haven't done this a long time because of just I didn't really think I wanted to, but I've just become literally the horror guy. I love it to death. My entire life, it's always been sitting there in front of me. And these past 6 years, I've just really grown to the genre and really have just seen a whole new life of horror. And I love it. I love it to death. And this year was pretty damn good. There were some bad ones. Those were on my top 10 worst of the list. But if you've seen my top 10 best movies of the year, there were 7 horror movies on that list. So yeah, this list kind of feels redundant. There's 3 that we can add to this list, okay? But like always, this is my list, okay? It's my opinion. Horror movies in general are very subjective, but horror movies, people are just like, is it scary? Is it bloody? Is it what I want? These are just my list, okay? These are my personal favorites, and these movies, they're pretty damn good, okay? This was a pretty good year. Nothing's like the 2022. Nothing was that year. But this was a pretty good year. The bad ones really stunk, but these ones were good. And before getting started, of course, I did not see every horror movie. There's like 100 original Shudder movies that I have not seen, okay? I'm sorry. I did not see every single horror movie this year, but the ones I did see, I ranked them, and we get to talk about them. And no, we don't even have an honorable mentions. We're getting straight into this list, guys, because honestly, like I said, I've already talked about 7 of these movies. So number 10 is Strange Darling. So this movie is the one that I sat there and thought, is this a horror movie? And it is on my top 10 best movies of the year list, and I love this movie. I think it truly is a crime thriller. But a lot of people were saying horror movie on Twitter, so I just went with the crowd. The performances of this movie is amazing, the cinematography. I love that it's not told in order, and honestly, it makes the movie so much better not knowing developments and reveals in different order, because when you watch the movie, you're like, oh crap, so that's why that person's running. It's so good. Please look it out. Now, coming in number 9 is a movie that was not on my top 10 best, but this movie definitely needed to be on the top 10 horror. It's Longlegs. Now, I'm going to say this. It is not the scariest movie I've ever seen. These ads went overboard with that, and this movie made a ton of money because of that reason, a TikTok. And you know what? I'm actually really happy about it because people got to really experience a different type of horror movie. This movie is like Silence of the Lambs with Nicolas Cage as our Hannibal Lecter, except he's Longlegs. He is so creepy. He is amazing. He honestly, if in a perfect world, he would be nominated for a supporting actor. Micah Monroe is amazing. The cinematography, the music, the sound design. Longlegs was one of the best horror movies of the year. Now in my 8th spot is a movie that I cannot believe how much money it made. Like, in a world, this movie made almost $100 million. Terrifier 3 is about to become one of the biggest horror franchises. Is Art the Clown the next Jason Freddy icon? He might be at this point. This movie is gory, and if you're not into that, that's fine, because this movie is for specific horror fans. Art the Clown, in my opinion, has never been funnier. This movie is hilarious from his performance. I love the characters. I love the development. Yes, it did leave you hanging saying, hey, we are going to wait for part 4 because we didn't answer any of our questions from part 2, but the kills were amazing, and it truly has some of the best practical kills you'll see. Now, coming in my 7th spot is the last movie that wasn't on my top 10 best, and this one, honestly, I feel like I should have given honorable mention to because I really like this movie. Smile 2 is awesome. Is it better than the first one? I think I'd rather watch this one, but I think that first one is just a better movie because of just the actual story being told. But this one has a great idea of making it a pop star. Naomi Scott, literally, I'm not kidding you, deserves some type of award. She's not going to get any Oscar nominations, okay? We know that. But someone out there who's running an award show, We need to get her on winning roles right now. This movie is very well directed. The scares are all throughout this movie, making my special lady friend jump the entire time. Smile 2 is super entertaining. All right, now at number 6, we're talking about it again. Cuckoo. Cuckoo is awesome. This movie is literally, in my opinion, the smartest script written all year, and not just the horror genre. Hunter Schefter, please do more horror movies because this was an amazing performance. I love the look of this movie. I love that the story takes its time while also not just spoon feeding it to you. I had to be explained certain themes and messages of what's being shown on screen, and watching with that intent on the second rewatch was so much better. And honestly, I really recommend this movie. It's kind of an underrated gem. People kind of forget about it because it came out like right after Longlegs. Longlegs was the indie hit. Cuckoo deserves a little bit of that love, just like Longlegs. Number 5 is a movie I could not believe how good it was. It made my top 10 best, and it's in my horror top 5. The First Omen is awesome. Now, yes, this movie is slow, and in my top 10 best, I said it's the best Omen movie. I will replay that and say, no, the original Omen is really good. How are we going to say the First Omen without saying, we have to say the original Omen now, don't we? Yeah. We can't say the remake because there's a remake Omen. But either way, the First Omen, this movie is well directed. The sound design, the music, and once again, the performance in the female lead is truly Oscar worthy. We had some amazing female performances in the horror genre this year, and this one might be my favorite. Coming in the 4th spot was my second favorite movie of the year, but in my horror list, I'm gonna put it at number 4. Lisa Frankenstein. This is the comfort movie, okay? This movie is very, very different than any type of romance movies you're gonna get. It mixes the horror genre, it mixes Heathers, Breakfast Club a little bit, and it makes it its own movie, and that is Lisa Frankenstein. Of course, the amazing, talented Katherine Newton delivers a awesome performance. Really, this character is her own. Of course, Sprouse is very good as the monster in this movie. The production design, the color of this movie, it's just really a comfort movie. It's a movie that's really grown on me and really is like my second favorite movie of the year. But in the horror list, when I'm watching a horror movie, these other 3, I think I'm going to be more in the mood for the scary horror tone, but this movie is still my second favorite movie of the entire year. What's not fair about number 3 is this movie I got another rewatch with after putting my best list out there, and honestly, this movie might even move up 1 inch on that list. Number 3 in the horror list, Nosferatu, my most anticipated movie of the entire year, delivered on every level and even more. There were certain story points I could not wait to see how Robert Eggers was going to do in a 2024 adaptation of Nosferatu, and my goodness, I love looking at this movie. Bill Skarsgård delivers, in my opinion, the best supporting acting performance of the entire year. Lily Rose Depp is amazing. Once again, another amazing female lead performance in horror. I mean, it's in theaters right now. It came out during Christmas, and I saw it with a packed theater with the general audiences on my second rewatch. It's so crazy how well this movie's doing. I'm so happy for it. Go and see Nosferatu if you can. Now in my second spot on my horror list is the critically acclaimed, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, possibly Best Picture nominee, The Substance. Who knew this was going to be a huge awards contender? I'm in love with this movie. I loved it when I first saw it, and I could not get it out of my head because how crazy this is. The body horror, the performances by Demi Moore. Once again, another female performance, and she and Margaret Qualley are really on the brinks of possibly being nominated for an Oscar for this movie. This is huge. This movie is so important for the horror genre. You guys don't understand it, and the themes of this movie, and what it's trying to say, what it's showing, and how it does it by always making sure that the themes are the front runner of this movie. Yes, the body horror is there. Yes, the blood is there, the makeups, the performances, but the message, what the movie's trying to say, is always the most important part of this movie, and I'm loving that people are loving this one. And now, with my number one horror movie of the year, and not just the number one horror movie, if you saw the best list, yeah, you know this was number one. My number one favorite movie of the year. It's in my top 15 favorite movies of all time. I've seen it multiple times in theaters. I've talked about it enough. My number one favorite horror movie of the year, it's Abigail. I literally just love the premise of this movie. I was never bored. I love the characters. I love the direction. I love every choice made in this movie because it just delivers everything I want. I laugh. I'm entertained. There's emotional, dramatic beats in this movie that I did not expect. And yes, I know the trailer showed the twist of ballerina vampire. But the thing is, if you take away the trailer and the marketing and you just watch the movie on its own, it's amazing. Literally every person I've shown this movie to, they've all really enjoyed it. A lot of you have reached out and said, "Man, this movie's very good. I only watched it because of your recommendation," which I love. I really appreciate you guys really going to watch a movie because of my review. But again, this movie hit me differently. It's just awesome. It is my favorite subgenre in horror. It is vampires. When it's done right, it's done right. This movie brought me back to like my childhood of when I wanted to make short films and I continue to make short films, and this one inspired me to write, direct, and be in my next short film, Ruby, which I am so happy to be producing right now. I can't wait for you guys to see it. But it all came from Abigail. Abigail literally is my favorite movie of the entire year. It's probably my favorite movie of this decade, the past 8 years. Honestly, this is a movie that really just hit me on every level as a horror fan, as a movie fan. I know, I've talked a lot about it. Abigail is my number one favorite horror movie of 2024. And that is it. I have done the list that all of you wanted me to do, that I always do, my best, my worst, and my horror. And it's finally time to give it a little bit of a rest. 2025 is a big year for me. The number one thing happening to me, I'm finally graduating from college in the spring. Very excited. I hate school. So yes, guys, I'm going to continue doing 20 reviews like usual, like I plan on doing. And if you do not know, just one little special announcement. From now on, at the end of the month, I will be doing rankings of all the new movies I saw that month, because a lot of you love ranking videos, and I feel like, you know what? Let me give what the audience want. Me doing ranking videos of what I see. And we might do other topics. We shall see. But once again, thank you guys for an amazing 2024. This year, I thought 2023 was my best year. You guys proved me wrong. It is insane how good this year has been. And in the horror genre, going to horror conventions for the first time, oh baby, it's just getting started. Just you wait what I'm going to in 2025. I didn't want to tell you, but I'm going somewhere. And it's going to be really cool. Anyway, guys, thank you for 2024. I cannot wait to see you guys in 2025 for another full year of movie reviews, horror movie reviews, and of course, more Catherine Newton, because that's all we need in our lives. And guys, I love you guys so much. Have a great New Year's, and I'll see you in the next year. Bye, everybody.